Giju got up with a sleeping Minsu still in his arms and said a vessel to hold an ego, but the Mr's ego was, and Lu replied that's right, only a fragment remains. L spoke up saying that Brunhart was able to inherit its old memory even though it was destroyed, so as long as he wasn't completely gone, there must be a way. Giju silently pondered for a while, and then reached out with his hand to touch the scripture while activating Link. Then a glow of energy started to emit from the scripture, and the system notified him that the link has been established. Giju had thought correctly, this was a egoless ego, same as the other gears from Mr's shop. He should be able to resurrect him if he put an ego into this, but a way to restore an ego fragment, is there really such a way, he wondered. As if by magic, Ball appeared beside him and said there is, shocking Giju. After taking Minsu back home and putting on his bed to sleep, he returned to the gate. Inside, Ball marveled at the statue and said it was a marvelous vessel, as expected of Paimon's descendant. Lu questioned as he was listening this whole time, the sly demon. Giju asked Ball if he was sure that there was a way, and he replied around 50%, since he can't be certain. Since Giju's existence itself is unprecedented, and since there is no precedent, it's impossible to be certain. While Giju just stood silently, Lu said that he says that. But he brought it up because he's almost certain, what an egotistical bastard. Ball goes on to say that first they need to restore the elder's ego, and actually to do this, they already have all the materials. The ego fragment, and the piece of ego that he possesses, can be used to restore the defected ego by synthesizing those two. Giju, surprised by this revelation, asked how did he know about the piece of ego and synthese, and Ball replied that he heard it from Su Young, which made Giju curse that damn demonic eye. L just called her a big mouth. Ball continued in any case, he can restore the ego to its original form with that, but that doesn't mean he can fully restore its essence. An ego isn't something that can be restored so easily. And snapping his fingers, he said that's why you'll need this, producing the Holy Sword 9 and a transparent crystal. Then started to go into a long-winded explanation explaining the process, but Giju told him to wait since even if he explained it like that, he had no idea what he but was cut off by Ball saying that he might have went on for too long. Giju questioned was he always like this, and Lu replied that this is the problem with researchers, but he more or less get it after hearing his explanation, so he will try to explain it to him as simple as possible, so just do as he commands. First pick up the Holy Sword 9 and the transparent crystal. Looks like 9 has been completely corrupted into a demonic sword, it was probably Baal's doing. Lu continued to instruct saying, now synthesize the ego fragment with the piece of ego and let 9 absorb them, it's a sword that already has an absorption ability, so it'll occur naturally. Giju did as he was told. Holding the Holy Sword 9 in his hand and started the synthesis of Huang Jichul's fragment and a piece of ego. The system notified him that synthesizing the main ego Huang Jichul's fragment and sub-ego the piece of ego. As the glow on the sword started to shine brightly, Lu explained that all three parts has been mixed and now bring the transparent crystal near 9. As Giju brought the crystal near the sword, the blended materials within the holy sword was being sucked into the crystal. As the process removed the remaining power of life within the sword 9, it started to rapidly break down. At this Giju was wondering if he was doing it correctly, since the sword started to disappear. Grinning in the back like a mad scientist, Ball thought without a doubt, this was a sign of undeniable success. As the crystal fully absorbed the powers, it shined so brightly that it could be seen miles away. As the unless parts of the Sword of 9 fell to the ground, a shining ball remained and the system notification informed him that synthesis has succeeded, and Huang Jichul's fragment has changed into Huang Jichul's ego. Holding the glowing ball in his hands, Giju remarked that it worked. Waving towards the statue, Ball said now for the finishing touch. While taking a big gulp to calm his nerves, Giju approached the statue, thinking that if the granting succeeds as well then this won't simply be creating an ego, but restoring a dead person's ego. It will be no different from resurrection. As Giju touched the ball to the statue, blue swirling energy started to cover the statue. A few moments later, the statue started to crack off, while Ball with anticipation in his eyes thought finally. As more cracks appeared, some of the pieces of the stone started to fall off. Then a brightly shining light started to encase the status and shoot up into the sky, and Giju had to use his arms to cover his eyes. Giju thought that his life, with no sliver of hope whatsoever, started to change after his meeting with egos. First was Lu. Then came El. Followed by Brunhart, Rain, and Hermes and Oberon. He was able to cure his mother's disease, became the Demon King's disciple, and even became the master of a gate. The egos were always at the center of the changes in his life. The completely new ego, different from the others, which is now in front of him. A completely unprecedented being, ego human. As soon as the light dissipated, an elder was revealed inside that suddenly opened his eyes. He looked incredulously at his hands in disbelief. Giju continued thinking that even he didn't know what result this change would bring in the future. Then the gaze of the elders shifted over to him, and the system notified him that the Guardian has been completed. Meanwhile, at the Iron Guild office, Iron Shield was looking out the office window saying that several abnormal gates will appear soon, and his guild will use that as an excuse to expand to his territory and aim for the Demon King. He understands that if things go as he suggested, then it's certainly a fine scenario. And what did he say his name was? At this, a foot stepped out from the shadows, and he said that he was the leader of the Carven Guild, Ras. We see a man with half his face shown in the light to be normal, while the other half within the shadow has demonic features, such as a red demonic eye with horn and wings. Please call me Ras. Subscribe to the channel for the next part. Thank you for watching, until next time.